Serial killer Ted Bundy murdered at least 30 women and young girls in the 1970s. Despite the fact that he's one of the most sinister serial killers ever to have lived, women still flocked to the courtroom during his trial to admire him from across the room. Even following the trial, after evidence was heard of how he stalked women before overpowering and kidnapping them, taking his victims to secluded areas where they were killed, fans of Bundy still proclaimed his innocence. We know through studying this crazy phenomenon that there are many reasons why someone would fall in love or become obsessed with a depraved serial killer. And that's what we are going to look at today. My name is Merryweather and I'm the founder of Crime Viral Online. Today I'll be doing what I do best, which is talking about serial killers. Our video today is Ted Bundy, Why Women Loved Him. But first, here is a treat for all you true crime fans. Magellan TV is a new type of documentary streaming membership founded by filmmakers. Their team of producers and curators brings together premium content that dives deep into important documentary subjects. Magellan TV has some of the best collections available in true crime, history, science, nature, and space. There are so many great choices, it's hard to stop watching once you start. There are over 3,000 documentaries to choose from, and new programs are added on a weekly basis. Even better, there's a growing selection of shows available in 4K without additional cost. You can watch Magellan TV on any device or connected TV. You can even cast from your phone to your TV. It's super easy to use. So check it out now. Click the link below to get a 4-month free. This week I've been binge watching the dramatic Trap series. These survivor stories are all told from the perspective of the victims and the heroes who saved them. These are all true stories, from plane crashes in the Andes to being lost at sea. It's a great series to get stuck into and might give you some ideas if you ever faced a catastrophe yourself. Now let's get you back to the serial killers. Ted Bundy would hunt strategically, stalk specific victims, observe his prey, and after learning from previous attempts, he was always perfecting his approach to his victims. Following the murder of 21-year-old psychology student Linda Ann Healy on February 1st, 1974, Bundy began killing approximately one girl a month. Later, police produced something called the Girl of the Month Club, where he tracked the girls that had gone missing and were later found dead. So why did so many women fall for the serial killer? We do have another video on this channel that explains in more detail about hybristophilia, featuring Richard Ramirez, if you want to check that out too. Based on the research of Professor of Forensic Psychology Katherine Ramsland, we believe it comes down to these 5 factors. Number 1, they believe they can change a man as cruel and powerful as a serial killer. When the media interviewed Bundy's fangirls outside the courtroom, one woman told them he just doesn't look like the type to kill somebody. Bundy was a serial killer who was born without a capacity for empathy. So from a young age, he's learned in order to blend in, he needs to practice superficial charm. We've seen this show up time after time in the psychopathic personality, and Bundy was a pro, as he managed to land top university places even though his grades were abysmal, and he even worked his way up the ladder in politics. Bundy himself said, "I became an expert at projecting something very different. It is clear now, I think, that a huge part of my life was hidden from everyone, secret as it were. It didn't take much effort at all." When the women who claim to be in love with Bundy say that they can change him, they are only really seeing the superficial side of his personality, not the dark side that cannot be changed, as Ted Bundy is a born predator.
It turns around, I kind of get that feeling, oh no, he's gonna get me next,
But yet you're fascinated by him.
Very, very. Every night when I go to bed, I just, I get very scared. I shut my door and lock him,
I'm not afraid of him. He just doesn't look like the type to kill somebody. You try to imagine yourself in his place and to see how he's feeling, looking at the pillows with blood stains and everything, and if he really did it or not.
Number 2, they see the little boy that the killer once was and seek to nurture him. Once you're in a relationship with a psychopath, they will use many techniques to secure your unwavering loyalty. One of these techniques was playing the role of the victim, as it taps into their partner's maternal responses or nurturing instincts. This unfortunately was the case for Elizabeth Kendall. She was a single mother, juggling work and her young daughter Molly when she first met Bundy. Elizabeth recalls how the serial killer would cry into his hands because he had never met his real father. Yet these are believed to be fake tears, as later she found this was a man who was capable of killing 2 women in the same day and then taking her out for dinner that same night. Every female pen friend Bundy had behind bars, he would also pull this same little lost boy routine on them as well, claiming he was really innocent and the police were just out to get him and make him look like a monster. This routine worked time after time again. Number 3. They hope to share in the media spotlight or get a book or movie deal. In 1979, Ted Bundy's month-long trial was one of the first to be televised in the world, turning the serial killer into a household name overnight. His then girlfriend and future wife, Carol Ann Boone, attended the trial. Bundy even used an odd legal loophole where he married Carol in court because he declared they were husband and wife in front of a judge. Also, his former colleague Anne Rule, who he met whilst working for a suicide helpline, went on to write the book The Stranger Beside Me, all about his crimes. When Anne passed away in July 2015, she was worth an estimated $10 million. So you can understand why some women would be attracted to serial killers if they themselves desire to be rich and famous. Number 4. They believe they are dating the perfect boyfriend. Some women do genuinely believe serial killers on death row make the perfect boyfriends, as they know where they are at all times, they can't commit adultery as they are locked up, and they are more than willing to write back and talk on the phone daily because, well, they don't have much else going on. One obsessive Bundy stalker named Janet went so far with her love of Ted Bundy that she even managed to creep out the serial killer himself. Janet not only wrote tons of letters to Bundy, but she also showed up to the trials. Bundy was so worried about Janet, he turned to his defense attorneys and told them that he believed she wanted to wear his skin. Bundy said, "There she sits, contemplating me with her mad eyes like a deranged seagull studying a clown. I can feel her spreading hot sauce on me already." Bundy had written Janet back once, and she told him, "I kissed the letter all over and held it to me. I don't mind telling you I am crying. I just don't see how I can stand it anymore. I love you so very much, Ted." So, just to be clear, if you are fascinated by the Ted Bundy case and read lots of books about the serial killer, don't worry too much. We're talking about Janet levels of crazy here. And finally, number 5, they seek relationships that cannot be traditionally consummated. Many women who date serial killers have been victims of abuse at the hands of a former partner themselves. So for some of these women, they find knowing that they can't have a romantic relationship with their partner due to the restrictions on conjugal visits for death row inmates, they find that quite comforting. They can have an emotional connection without the need for physical connection. However, as Bundy is a highly manipulative individual, he managed again to exploit the prison system and conceive a daughter with Carol Ann Boone whilst he was on death row. Nobody really knows for certain how exactly this happened. Some guess he bribed a guard to look away so he could have some private time with his wife, whereas others believe that Carol took some of his sperm during a visit and later inseminated herself. However they managed it, Ted Bundy does have a daughter named Rose, who would now be 38 years old. Carol Ann Boone always believed Bundy was innocent until later DNA evidence and his full confession the night before his execution proved otherwise. After Bundy's execution, Carol avoided the media, and it's believed she passed away at 2018 at the age of 70 years old. Elizabeth and her daughter Molly retold their story of life with Bundy when they released an updated version of the book The Phantom Prince in 2020. And we don't know what Janet is up to nowadays, but she's probably somewhere wearing a Ted Bundy t-shirt right now. So, what are your opinions on Bundy fans and hybristophilia? We would love to hear your views in the comments below, or if you have any suggestions for future videos, do let us know. And don't forget to like and subscribe for even more serial killer content.